everybody. Today what we are looking at is inequalities. All right, so the prefix in usually would mean not equal to or difference in equal. So we are using symbols that look like this, which you may or may not have seen before. We're going to go through what they mean. So an inequality is basically a statement, but instead of using an equal sign in the statement, we're going to be using these symbols. Now, these symbols you might be familiar with: less than, greater than, less than or equal to, greater than or equal to. So I'm just going to write them down here. So if Pac-Man is facing this way, the number that is on this side has to be greater than the number that is on this side. So we say that this symbol means greater than, okay? If there is a little equal, all right, underneath the greater than sign, that means it is greater than or equal to, okay? This symbol here means less than, okay, which means the number on this side is less than the number on this side. And again, with the equal sign, it means less than or equal to. Okay, what we can do with these inequalities is we can represent them on what we call a number line. The important thing when we're representing inequalities on a number line is that if we draw a circle that's colored in, that means we're including the number. So that's usually 4, always 4, if it's greater than or equal to or less than or equal to. So we're going to have on our number line, it's going to be colored in. When it's just greater than or less than, that means our number's not included, the number that we're talking about. So we leave our circle open. We do not color it in. These things are important, and it's going to make a lot more sense now that we go through an example. So I have here x is greater than or equal to 4, and I want to represent this on the number line. So what I do is I look at my number that I'm talking about. That is the number 4. So on my number line, I'm going to write the number 4. Okay, and above the number 4, I'm going to draw a circle. Now, to figure out whether this circle is going to be colored in or not, I'm going to see what my symbol is. This is greater than or equal to. Because it's greater than or equal to, that means my number 4 is going to be included. And because it's included, I'm going to color in my circle. Okay. If it is greater than, all right, my arrow is pointing this way, which means we are talking about all numbers that are greater than 4. So on a number line, I represent it by saying all numbers this side of the number that we've spoken about. Okay, so greater than, we're talking about moving to the right. Less than, we're talking about moving the opposite direction to the left. So this one here, again, I do the same thing. I look at the number that I'm talking about. That's the number 6. So we're going to go to the number 6 on our number line. I'm going to draw a circle above it. I'm going to see whether or not I have to color it in or not. It is a less than symbol. Less than symbols are not included. So I'm not going to color it in. And I'm talking about all numbers that are less than 6. All numbers that are less than 6 are 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0, -1, -2, -3. Okay, so all numbers to the left, which means when I draw on my number line, my arrow is going to be pointing this way. Now, the way that I like to remember it is the direction of the arrow is going to be the direction of my symbol. So this is pointing this way, which means my arrow is going to have to be pointing this way. This is pointing to the left side. So when I draw my arrow, it's going to be pointing to the left side. When you're given something with 2 numbers, we are talking about your value being in between the 2 numbers that they've said. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw my first number, which is a 1, okay? And we're going to go all the way to the number 5, okay? So when I'm trying to identify whether I'm coloring in or not, I have to look at the symbol that's next to the number. So the symbol that's next to 1 is just a less than sign, okay? So that's going to keep it an open circle. The symbol that's next to the 5 is a equal to sign, okay, less than or equal to, which means when I color that in, it's going to be left as so. And we are talking about our values being between 1 and 5. So on my number line, when I draw that, I draw it like this over here. So we have now represented something that is greater than or equal to, something that is less than, and something that is in between two values. These are the three different things that you could get. Of course, you could get a greater than without the equal to sign, so you just wouldn't color that in. Here you could get a less than with an equal to, so that means you would color that in. And the same thing goes here. If the less than or equal to sign is here, that means I'd color that in. And if that wasn't there, that means I wouldn't color that in. So following the same process. All right. What we can also do is we can solve equations, all right, using inequalities. What you may notice is instead of an equal sign here, instead of an equal sign here, instead of an equal sign here, we have an inequality symbol. Now, solving inequalities is basically the same process that we use when we are solving normal equations. The only difference is when we are multiplying or dividing by a negative number, we end up reversing the sign. And I'm going to show you what that means. So we'll have a go at doing this example first. So the aim is exactly the same. I want to try to get x on its own. So first things first is I look at what's away from the x. That's the 9. Okay, so we're dividing all of this by 9, which means I need to do the opposite. I need to multiply by 9. So multiply by 9 here. What I do to one side, I have to do to the other. So that 9 and that 9 are going to cancel. I'm going to be left with 3 plus 4x. But now instead of writing equals, I'm going to write the same symbol. I'm going to write greater than or equal to 3 times 9 is 27. Okay. And now I'm going to continue to solve this. So the thing that's not with the x is the 3. It's an adding 3. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to subtract 3 from both sides. If you were unsure about solving, you might need to watch my previous videos. So we're going to be left with 4x. 27 take away 3 is 24. Okay, and then here again we need to get rid of the 4 or move it to the other side, which means here is timesing. The opposite of times is divide, so we're going to divide by 4, which means I'm going to be left with x is greater than or equal to 24 divided by 4 is 6. So x is greater than or equal to 6. So this statement is true for any value being 6 or above. Okay. Next one, 15 take away 2x is greater than 1. So again, the first thing that we need to do is try to leave x on this side, and anything that's with the x, leave that for later. So the 15, it's on its own, so we can move that first. Adding 15, the opposite of that is subtracting, so we're going to subtract 15 from both sides. Okay, I'm going to be left with negative 2x is greater than 1 take away 15. 1 take away 15 is going to be negative 14. Okay, and then here what I have to do is I have to now get rid of my negative 2. Now to get rid of a negative 2, if it's multiplying, I have to divide by negative 2, and I have to divide by negative 2. So what I'm going to be left with here is x. Now this is the part, sorry, this should be a negative 2. This is the part that's a little bit different to what we're used to. So if I am dividing by negative 2, all right, if I'm multiplying or dividing by that negative number, this symbol is now going to flip. So instead of being a greater than symbol, it's now going to be a less than symbol. So now we have negative 14 divided by negative 2. Negative 14 divided by negative 2 is going to be positive 7. And now that is my answer. Okay, so this over here is the part that we are referring to. I'm going to put a little star here and a little star here so that you know that this rule that I've written is an association to dividing or multiplying by a negative number. All right, and lucky last question here. I've got 2 is greater than x plus 1. Remember, I want to get x on its own. So I'm going to now get rid of this plus 1. To get rid of that, I need to subtract 1 from both sides. So subtract 1, subtract 1. 2 minus 1 is 1. 1 is greater than, 1 minus 1 is 0, so that's going to cancel. 1 is greater than x. Now I can leave it in this format, but what I can also do is I can swap it around. I can put x on this side and 1 on this side, but if I'm swapping things around like that, the thing that's happening is I'm having to now switch this sign to the opposite direction. So opposite being this way. So me saying 1 is greater than x is the same as me saying x is greater than 1. Oh, sorry, x is less than 1. All right, so we have now gone through putting numbers, inequalities on a number line, and we have gone through how to solve inequalities. Remember, following the same process as normal solving, but if we're dividing or timesing by a negative number, we end up swapping over the inequality sign. So a less than becomes greater than becomes less than. Hopefully that made sense. If you could give this video a like, that would be greatly appreciated. If you do need any help or confirmation in the comments, please leave a comment below and I can help you. Enjoy the rest of your day. Bye.